Trump is often called dumb by his opponents, but if there is one thing he understands, it's the power of the media. In his first presidency, it seemed like he was on the back foot, but this time round, he was ready. Since coming to office, he has put on a show of how to disrupt narratives, set agendas, and confuse and disorientate his critics. All the while, he's taken the moral high ground and claimed to be a champion of free speech. So here's how Trump manipulates the media. Within the USA, most news organizations are biased in favor of the Democrats or Republicans. Any president can count on the support of one part of the media. Internationally, things are more complex. Some right-wing platforms are pro-Trump, but in general, the America First rhetoric rubs people the wrong way, and the reporting can be fairly negative. Conscious of the criticism that was going to come his way, Trump was fairly quiet after winning the election. He knew the media storm would start as soon as he entered office, but he was ready. Within the first week, Trump's critics didn't know where to look or what to complain about. The number of policy announcements was overwhelming. Greenland, Panama, Canada, and Mexico. Attacks on his lack of action over the price of groceries faded into the background as Trump's loudmouthed foreign policy took center stage. When quizzed about food prices, he deflected with a Trumpism.
But groceries is the word that's the most accurate word.
It would be easy to forget about the economy altogether and start discussing Trump's quirky mannerisms. Trump's administration has looked to consistently be the one setting the agenda, leading his critics away from vulnerabilities and onto strong ground where Trump knows his support base will back him. And it's not just ambitious policies and catchy soundbites which have given Trump control over the media. He's also distracted them with dramatic displays, media moments, something a company driven by clicks and engagement cannot ignore. One example of this was the recent visit of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who presented Trump with an unmarked envelope containing an invitation from the King for a second state visit. Trump was surprised and delighted, but before the meeting, he had already agreed what was going to happen. "It's really, really special," said Starmer, feeding Trump's media moment. Behind the scenes, the King was reportedly upset. His invitation had been used as a publicity stunt. Of course, an even bigger story arrived with the Zelensky clash, manufactured by Trump and Vance. Resentment over Democrat funding for Ukraine is high amongst Trump supporters, and such a public disagreement caught all the headlines for over a week. There is an element of fear about what Trump could do next, that he's becoming unhinged, but these dramatic displays are actually consistent with his past behavior. Back on The Apprentice, he was always playing around, teasing, joking, and deflecting. At one point, he famously asked everyone whether he should change his hairstyle, as the candidates waited to hear who had won. This kind of media-savvy playfulness is what made Trump so famous in the first place, and he has begun to channel that same energy into his presidency. "Mr. President, is Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine?" Who? "Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine?" "What did he do?" "Well, he's attacked Ukraine." "Is he disrespecting me?" "Yeah." "Who are you?" Trump's manipulation of the media is probably influenced by Franklin D. Roosevelt, who won the 1932 election with the US economy in a bad way. After his victory, he too kept a low profile, and the noise of his critics reached a crescendo just as he entered office. Roosevelt also immediately set the agenda, introducing new policies and plans left, right and center, his first days in office as the famous 100 Days. This comparison hasn't been lost on the American media, with CNN saying in a recent article Trump has some way to go before he equals Franklin D. Roosevelt's 100 Days. Set the agenda, overwhelm, fight on the ground of your choosing, catch attention with dramatic displays, and channel playfulness. So far, these are all strategies successful US presidents have used to control the media, but Trump has another card up his sleeve. It's often said that John F. Kennedy was the first president made for TV, Obama was the first president made for social media, and Trump may be the first president to understand the power of informal social media. Despite his criticism of China, one of the first things he did in office was to stop the ban on TikTok. This fit with Trump's wider argument that he was pro-free speech. After years of being banned from Facebook and X, he presents himself as an advocate for the free flow of information and ideas on social media, and this fits with Elon Musk's line about X, "You are the media now." Now this gives Trump some leverage over mainstream platforms and traditional journalists. He has taken to banning certain media outlets from the White House press briefings, instead inviting internet personalities and online streaming groups. Associated Press has been disinvited and replaced by Real America's Voice, all in the name of freedom of speech. But Trump's censorship policy carries its own cost. What was once a chaotic world of informal online commentary is now another battleground for political interests. Fringe voices are now on message. Alex Jones, for example, once a maverick outsider, is now being promoted by the X algorithm, and he says what other pro-Trump media says. On platforms like X, sellouts and algorithms have given the government more control over informal online social spaces. Today's US government understands there is no need to censor when you can simply crowd out the discussion using the voices you control. And that's a great point to ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Arthur, and History Behind Headlines will always be independent. So if you want to have a say on future topics, join the Discord.